Good morning and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folarin. Today we're going to go to the tragedy in Ozubulu, Anambra State. Yesterday was a bloody Sunday in a scene that could only be said to be reminiscent of gangland America in the 1920s, where gangsters would go and shoot up a restaurant because there was someone in there that was the target. Worshippers, innocent worshippers at, a church in Anambra State yesterday were attacked. The accounts differ. Most are saying 11 dead and many more injured. But then there are even some accounts that go as high as 35 killed, and even one that went as high as 47. Whatever be the case, that will be sorted out later. The details perhaps are sketchy. We're hearing about a drug war in a foreign land, South Africa to be particular, spilling over into Nigeria. How it is, first of all, let me quickly introduce, my guest, our friend of the house, well, I was going to say barrister, but we've been corrected, Monday Onyekachi Ubani, yes. Legal practitioner. Yes. Thank you very much. Second National Vice President, MBA, and social commentator. Good morning, Onyekachi. Thank you. We have to say good morning, but you can imagine the fate of members of the families of those anywhere from 11 to 47. We'll get the actual figure in due course. Right. Give me your first impressions, because I was shocked. As I said, it's reminiscent of the Irish mobs in the 20s, the mafia mobs in the 20s, shooting up a place just because there was one target. Right. That this happened, and it's Nigerian, and it was a lone gunman. That's right. What do you think? What have we come to?
The right word is sadistic, very sadistic. I happen to be in the eastern state, where to be precise, when this news broke out in the social media. Yes. And I say it's a lie, because I don't want to believe the social media until I hear this.
Besides, the same that news, kind of thing doesn't happen in Nigeria.
It doesn't happen, because even the choice of the venue. When you mention about a gang war, in the 1920s and all that, they would go to a restaurant
and just drive by shoot
one individual, but you never hear them shooting in the church.
Never, never.
Because it's supposed to be a very sacred place,
paradoxically, those guys were quite religious, funnily enough.
Also,
very Catholic, very religious.
Beautiful. So going to a church setting in a village, and then, probably, getting, according to them, the target, because the father of the man they were looking for was in the church, and they probably killed him first. Then why now spread this particular gun to every other person, including innocent worshippers?
Indeed. You know what? Let's look at the report. Yes. You've seen that report, but it bears airing again. We'll look at the report that's been put together by TVC News and then come back to studio to continue the conversation.
Gloom and shock still over on Ozubulu community in Anambra State after the deadly attack on St. Philip's Catholic Church. The incident occurred on Sunday morning as armed men invaded the church, killing worshippers after they missed a prominent indigent they had traced there. The parish priest, flanked by other clergymen, narrates what happened.
We are about to introduce the prayer of the faithful, and the whole problem began. Just a boy, a man wearing black polo, came inside the church and started shooting recklessly, and that kind of thing. There was confusion, and after looking at the problem, there's nothing one can do except to begin to escape. So after the first round, there was second round, and I guess it was during that second round some people were shot, some people were shot dead. And when I came back, I discovered that some of my parishioners were dead, about 5 or 6 I saw in the church dead, bleeding. A lot of blood in my church.
Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano, who visited the scene, assured residents that the attackers will be brought to book.
This youth has been traced to the children of this very community that live outside Nigeria. There's no reason for that feud to be carried to the holy place like the church, and innocent people were killed. I'm not going to rest until everybody that is involved in this crime is brought to book.
TVC News gathered that the attack was an ongoing war between some Mbise and Ozubulu boys based in South Africa. The men are traced an alleged drug baron known as Ebube Chukuzo, based in South Africa, who they claim duped fellow drug traffickers. Anambra State Commissioner of Police Garba Umar clarified that it was not a terror attack, but an issue involving two brothers.
Investigation, which was a preliminary investigation, shows that the incident is as a result of a feud between two individuals who are from the same community but who live outside Nigeria. One of the individuals built the said church where the incident took place. It is definitely not a terrorist attack in the form of Boko Haram or any Fulani headsman attack.
Governor Obiano also visited the Nnamdi Azikiwe University Teaching Hospital in Nnewi, where the injured are receiving treatment, and promised to pay their bills.
Okay, so there you have, a fuller report than we initially had. And we've since been joined by Barrister Wahab Shitu, a law lecturer at University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming on, as always.
My pleasure.
Yes, we still have with us...
Except that the law court has ruled that this is an appellation barrister.
So what should I have said? I should have said...
Mr. Wahab Shitu.
There you go. Okay. I stand so corrected. Wahab Shitu, law lecturer at University of Lagos. Thank you very much for coming on the show. And we already are thankful that we have Monday Ubani on this Monday morning.
That is correct. That is correct. Yeah.
There's no reason for laughter if we think about it. What happened yesterday, I've just, and we've now seen the report. The police, no less, advise us that two brothers are involved. One of them, reportedly, as we have just heard, actually financed the church. We were just shocked. We were there, Monday and I, we were talking about, this is not America of the 20s, when Irish mobs, mafia mobs, Italian mobs, and all of those mobs used to go around shooting up people who were their enemies because of, families. These are crime families. But we're now hearing that it could be, because the word drug baron, the expression drug baron was used. Our reporter spoke of a drug baron, Chukuzo, drug baron Chukuzo in the US. Whatever be the case, shooting up a house of worship, this is the first. It's just as well that the police have emphasized that it is not a terrorist attack. It's a feud between two brothers of that community. What do you think, Wahab? What are we coming to? What are we coming to in the country?
Well, I listened to the police describe the incident as not amounting to terrorism.
No, not being a terrorist attack.
Not being a terrorist, it's terrorist attack.
When you look at it, it is terror.
It's terror. When you unleash so unprecedented violence,
yes,
with a savage motive on a place of worship, that's terrorism. Terrorism is a very generic expression that covers extreme and unprecedented form of violence that is laced with some motives. The motives could be religious, it could be political, it could be social, it could be economic.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. What matters is the degree of violence unleashed in consequence of the pursuit of that motive. So it's terrorism. But I also, I agree with the spokesman of the police that maybe this is not Boko Haram form of terrorism. Neither is it traced to Fulani herdsmen or something. But this is also domestic terrorism, and it is quite unfortunate, very unfortunate. It's indefensible, and on whatever grounds. And I think it's also a challenge to law and order. And that's very critical.
It is critical. Monday, it was a lone gunman.
That's right.
I mean, with the carnage, 11 shot, 11 killed, many more injured, according to one account. But as we said at the beginning, some newspapers this morning are saying as the figure goes as high as 35 on the front page of the Vanguard, and on the front page of the Guardian, they say 47. A lone gunman. Well, it had to have been an AK-47. Since it was a lone gunman. Right. But he escaped.
That's right.
And the governor has said that he will not rest until this man is apprehended. But right. As Wahab was saying, they're probably going to have to investigate this to the nth degree.
That's right.
Usually hits like that are not carried out without it being ordered by someone.
That's right.
These are the extensions that give me great cause for concern, that someone out of the country, reportedly, allegedly, has ordered that it's okay to go to a house of worship and shoot them up. This is an unprecedented problem that we have on our hands suddenly.
Anyway, we're not there to know what instruction actually was dished out to the hired assassins. Apparently, it must be a hired assassin. It may not be the drug dealer himself that came to shoot. He may have probably hired some persons to do this job. And I understand that the young man they were looking for was actually in town.
But wasn't?
Yes, he was
at
in
the
town.
mass
Yeah,
on that day.
He was in town. He came to Nigeria, but he left on Friday when he got the hint that they were after him. That's the information that is being circulated, and within the people from that Ozubulu axis that I have as friends, that he left on Friday.
Yeah, you said you were in the East over the weekend.
Yes, yes. They came looking for him on Sunday. They went to his house first, according to the story. They didn't see him. They now proceeded to the church and saw the father's car and know that the father was in the church. So they went after him. He was the first person they killed before shooting others. I mean, before the young man shot others, and then vamoose. That again raises the issue of security, which he has rightly pointed out, and then the issue of even state police. Now, the number of policemen that it's supposed to be for the citizen, we have not made a requirement of the UN in terms of how many 400 persons to a policeman. You find out that most of our policemen are the one guiding the political elites. So the number of policemen that are supposed to be deployed to all these villages, remote areas, are nowhere to be seen when things like this do occur. The man operated singularly and then escaped without being caught. Now, I'm also very, I commend the police for giving us, an answer to what has actually happened, because of mysterious killings in this country, we don't get to know what is actually the motive. But then we must also
be cautious.
Be cautious, because you have not gotten any person into your custody. Upon what basis do you arrive at this conclusion that it must be this drug war that spilled over from South Africa to Nigeria? Because you don't have any person in custody. So,
well, okay.
Yes, somebody
right.
would have interviewed and got the right information that, I was instructed to do this by somebody that was in South Africa and all that. So that information, I don't know how the police came to that conclusion, because if you do that, you have eliminated any other motive for that killing, because you zeroed in on one motive for the killing, and meaning that you have gotten all the facts that you needed, but you have nobody in custody. So that's again where we need to express some level of reservation.
Indeed, I understand that you being a lawyer and all, you necessarily will concentrate on processes, due processes and accuracy and all of that. Right. But as you also know, there are these stories circulating that need to be strained by investigative authorities, so we know what is a total speculation and what has some amount of truth.
That's right.
But the fact that a drug baron has been named. By the way, it was also said that one of the feuding brothers of that community, Ozubulu community, built that church.
Yes.
People do that when they can afford it. Yeah. Now, the other aspect of this whole matter that struck me, I watch, most of us, maybe a lot of people watch documentaries on these matters, Drug Incorporated, a documentary on how it works in the inside the drug kingdoms. Yeah. And I heard one thing one time, Wahab, from one of these documentaries, that, look, if any drug baron is ripped off in whatever the shape or form, it is an obligation for that drug baron to put across a decisive statement that in our kingdom, in this dark kingdom, that kind of a thing is not done. and it's about lowering the rank or suddenly him losing face. And so he has to come back in a particular kind of way to leave everybody under no impression that there is any sort of weakness. So if anybody else is thinking of doing a thing like ripping off drug baron, stealing my drugs, stealing my money, he'd better think again. Now, as I said, that's documentary, and it's coming from America. This is not America.
That's right.
Well, in the kingdom of high criminality, betrayal is treated very seriously. Betrayal, that's why sometimes they swear to oath of secrecy, and they have all kinds of allegiance that they subscribe to. There's understanding, there's pre-agreement, which ought not to be breached, even though it's not formally signed.
Yes. It can hardly be a legal document.
Not executed.
It can hardly be a legal document.
It's a mafia. When you are dealing with the mafia, you know that betrayal is a heavy sin, and they visit such betrayal with the maximum, force as possible. Like you said, to register a statement.
To register a statement.
But I think what this calls for, on a very serious note, is effective and efficient investigation. I'm happy that the governor of Anambra State appreciates the enormity and the seriousness. Even though there are attempts by some other people to say, oh, the acting president and maybe people at the level of the federal, federal should have taken much more decisive action on this. I had comments like that, but I also appreciate what people of Soto also appreciate that while the federal authorities need to move, considering the fact that our police is highly centralized. What is critical is that all crimes are local.
Okay.
Yes.
All crimes are local. Okay, that's a dictum in law.
Yes.
Right?
No, it's a reality.
It's a reality.
Well, this one that the source was in South Africa. The execution was in Nigeria.
It's local, but it happened in Anambra.
Here.
It happened in Anambra.
This is the locus. This is
Okay.
And I think we should also intensify, not just local intelligence gathering, but also make necessary contact. Some people have been named. South Africa is a visible country with law and order. We can do international,
Interpol.
Yes.
Interpol.
Yes.
See and get some of these people to book, because lives that have been lost.
No, as I said, anywhere from 11 to 47.
You see?
Can you imagine? Although that's a wide disparity in the figures, but at least
to the extent
even the 11.
Yes. It's even constitutes a very serious threat on national security. A very serious threat on national
security. And the next question is, because of the dimension this horrible act, this horrible crime has taken, that we are hearing from police that two brothers of the same community. We also, inter alia, we've heard that drug baron is involved.
Yes.
Are you sure? And the governor, thankfully, has sworn that he will not rest till he gets to the bottom of this. The police are also, equally as eager to get to the bottom of it. Because of the very dark corridors they're going to have to traverse, once we're talking about crime kingdoms, going to South Africa, first of all, investigating if there's any local cell, because people are seeming to think that it was a hitman. You said that as much, that it probably was a hitman. They're now going to have to investigate the whole crime families in South Africa, find out how this young man from Ozubulu, where he positions and how he was able to do that. It seems to me that it's a very elaborate operation.
Very intricate.
Are you happy that we have the wherewithal, our investigative prowess in the country, we have the wherewithal to get to the bottom of this?
Well, we're a sovereign state in the first place, and a sovereign state should have capacity at any point in time to investigate crime. Because if there is breakdown of law and order in any society and the state is incapable of investigating and bringing the culprits to book, then that state is no longer a state.
Can the state call on help if it needs it?
Yeah, of course, it can call on help.
Okay.
And that's why, he mentioned Interpol. Interpol is not, you have to involve the police people in the other state, in the other country, and that is South Africa. who are these guys? You know, they can be extradited, you know, back to Nigeria for investigation.
Well, hopefully.
Yeah, they can.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
those guys don't operate within the law.
Yeah, well, they can. But they are within the territory. They are within the territory. Yeah, they are very defined territory, but they're dangerous actually, because there's one I saw, the most wanted man in America now is a Nigerian too, who has duped, you know, America of several millions of dollars. So it is within they are within defined territory, and they have been identified. And that's why I say for the police to be hasty in their, you know, in their pronouncement, I wish them good luck. You know, let them now go into the nitty-gritty of getting this factual situation now corroborated, you know, by evidence on ground. Because you need to have somebody to actually say, actually, he was instructed to do this, and this is actually what goes. As a rally point, it's an issue of national security. Because if with ease somebody can, from South Africa, instruct and commit havoc in your country, then what stops him from overthrowing government?
Well,
yes, it's the issue of, you know, what stops him from also there instructing, you know, that government should be overthrown. So the government at the center must also take this matter serious. Because,
well, yeah, yes. I hear that. Maybe not to put too much on that, because I understand what you're saying. Yes. This was a defenseless... Look, people talk about soft targets.
Yes.
This was the softest of the softest, and then the underbelly of the softest target.
Yes.
A church.
A church setting.
A mass in the morning.
A sacred environment.
You walk into that place and you start shooting them up. Now, I imagine that, like all police forces, our people have a special drug unit. These are specialist forces. Maybe they're differently trained. Those are the kind of guys that are going to be called now into action. They'll probably be interacting with similar forces in South Africa, since that is the country that has been mentioned. Interpol, of course, has its own waiting call. Perhaps it has what it has to do about the whole matter. But it goes back to the question I asked Wahab, the prowess, the wherewithal. Because when America experienced a terrorist attack of Tim McVeigh, you remember, Timothy McVeigh, that was the time when Al-Qaeda was hitting them all over the place. But they said, no, this one is a homegrown terrorist. This one is a disgruntled element, and they found him. I just pray and hope that our people have, our police forces also have the same level of sophistication, so that this doesn't lead on to copycats.
I agree with you. But they can also, in addition to the capacity that they ought to have, that we assume they have, they can also enlist on the factor of international cooperation and information sharing, international intelligence gathering.
Yes.
Because the whole world has become a global village. Some people have even said it has become a global bedroom, where you know, anything you do can be tracked depending on the political will, and then the political will and the
political will to not want to sweep it under the carpet.
Available infrastructure and technology. You see, for instance, because we know that there's a lot of factors involved here.
Okay.
The element of terrorism, and that's if you want to appreciate and get to the bottom of this, if we also treat it as terrorism.
Okay.
When we treat it as terrorism, not just to see it as local conflict, no. And then look at the element of international financing.
Okay, okay.
And then you find out, when you are talking of element of international financing, then you have to be certain about the source of funding, which also introduce money laundering issues. Because if this attack is sponsored from outside, and it is able to achieve the kind of destructive effect that we have all seen, then heavy funding must be involved.
Indeed, because the man has been referred. Somebody has been referred to as a drug baron connected to this.
Yes.
Now we all know that the drug industry, we're talking about billions of naira in illegal money. They say one of the brothers built the church. I mean, to be able to build a church, you know, you need to have 2 or 3 kobo to your name.
Of course.
You know, so big money is involved. All sorts of crimes, money laundering. Now the church. Now we know. Now we're beginning to know things. If a drug baron is being implicated in this, the police will elaborate more on that when they have the information. They built a church. Now the church is being shut up. by this whole, we know that it's money involved. There's money laundering. There's criminal money involved. So there are ripples of this, and I don't imagine this is going to be a one-week investigation.
There are so much laxity in the system. You know, in developed economies, they have mapped out all strategies to actually reduce the level of criminality in the state, including the inflows and outflows of money within the system. If they see you with more than 5,000 or you drop $5,000 or pounds in a bank, questions are being raised, you know, the source. You don't just go to UK now as you are, as a you know, rich as you are, sir. You go to London now and say you want to open an account. They just I give you the form, you fill and throw in money into the UK bank account. No.
You mean Uncle Yori is rich
a very
intellectual resource?
Intellectual, even physical. They will not accept the money in the house.
I know. I purposely ignored his pulling my leg. You know, I just left my leg in his hand.
I'm not pulling even your hand. You know. So the point is that they cannot accept that money. They will ask the source and all that. So we don't do all that. I watched the film. I watched the video of this man that is alleged to be a drug dealer. When we finish this program, I will show you. If you see how this man was spraying money in his village, he was carrying bond. If you see the bundle, so how do they even, when he does this illegal trade of, you know, on drugs abroad, how does he even bring in the money into the system and all that? Nobody watches any person in this country and all that. So we need to also tighten even the inflow of money into the economy, because these guys can, now that's why you see all manner of things happening in Nigeria, you know, in terms of arms and ammunition, in terms of where somebody suddenly can just become a billionaire and nobody's asking questions, and people, you know, worship and all that. And then it goes to show also the issue of how we worship, you know, people who are moneyed.
Okay.
The money back in this nation, sir. It's a whole lot of issue. Indeed. You know, the man single-handedly built that church, and everyone in that city knows what he does for a living, that he's a drug dealer. Huh. They know because
you think?
Oh, they know, sir.
Because if they know,
can I tell you, sir?
If I know, I was thinking the church would refuse
the money. But I tell you this, is within that vicinity also, they say a lot of them are into drug, you know, drugs, you know, trade. And of course, remember that South Africa has been complaining about the illicit businesses Nigerians are doing abroad. They are doing in South Africa. They complain of prostitution. They complain of drug. They complain of so many other crimes that Nigerians are importing into South Africa. And there was a time there was this xenophobia. You know, attack on Nigerians.
Okay, one moment, please.
So these are wider issues, you know, that we should look at. You know,
this is why it's going to be a very complicated case. Good morning, Shade, and thank you very much for holding on. Please go ahead.
Hello, Uncle Yori. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
And good morning to your guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, please, Uncle Yori, no matter how I would look at this, it's a very pathetic situation anyway, but no matter how I look at it, there's no way I can call that place of worship a church, because it was built or contributed to by a drug baron. It's one of the things that is very painful, because all these are religious leaders. Sometimes they just receive help from people that we don't even know their source of income. I remember those times when you want to get into the membership of a church or something, you have forms, you have so many things that you have to do. And then they have to visit your home, sometimes pay you surprise visits at your places of work. But those things don't exist anymore. And it is a menace that is eating deep into the fabric of this country. So it is very pathetic. They just wasted people's lives like that.
Indeed. Thank you very much for calling in, Shade. But without prejudice, a crime has been committed.
That's right.
A dastardly crime has been committed. Anywhere between 11 and 47 people have been killed. And therefore, the law enforcement people must swing into action. But, you know, thank you very much, Shade, because Shade brought up another matter. And we were talking about that.
The issue of dirty money.
Yes. Which is the issue Shadi brought up.
Dirty money, which is what she alluded to. And I think I'm very impressed with that submission. I think the ethical message that perhaps we have to take away from this discourse is the need for Nigerians across the board not only to be concerned about money and the way it is acquired, but also the color of money. If somebody imagines to offer donations or to carry out any other thing.
Indeed.
You want to find out this money that this person is putting down, where does it emerge from? What's the color of that money?
Yeah, because that's what Shari was alluding to. You can't just show up and say, I have money, and churches take it from you.
Take it like that.
You know,
even it has even crept into our political arena. When people, brandish money here and there to, make statements and all that, even at social functions.
Yeah.
When people come around and they start spraying all kinds of money. I think we should find out what is the color of this money.
Exactly.
Not just the money, the color.
Ozubulu town, Ozubulu town, as Monday has said, it is thought that quite a number of people in that area engage in the same trade. Well, let's come back. Let's go on break, and when we come back, we'll look into our other aspects of the story. Stay with us, please. Welcome back. Yesterday, a Black Sunday in Ozubulu town in Anambra State. A church was invaded by a lone gunman, and he has killed anywhere between 11 and 47 people, according to the newspapers. And that's apart from many, many more that lay wounded. Now, Onyekachi Ubani, you were in town, that is, you were back home over the weekend. Thank God that you were not anywhere near that area. But we're talking about that area, Ozubulu, having its reputation, right? That perhaps more than a few people actually, know about these matters. I'm even hearing that there's an NBC angle to the whole thing. Could you, what are you hearing by way of allegations?
Yeah, a lot of things are, cropping up, concerning this particular transaction. I mean, this issue that just came up. There is this NBC angle to the entire story, that there was also an NBC guy who is involved in the drug stuff, but was betrayed and is now in prison, and he's also threatening. In prison in South Africa? In South Africa, yes, and he's going to, revenge and all that. So people are looking whether it is even in the NBC angle or the one between him and his own brother from the same community, where they're having issue as to controlling territory and betrayal. There's so much, as I said, betrayal is a capital offense. Beautiful, which is why, this is. So the angle is not too clear, whether it's from the NBC angle or from the one between him and his brother. That's why the security agencies now will have to be very thorough in their investigation in order to actually unravel this and nip it in the bud before it escalates. You know how kidnapping started in this country. You know how robbery and all that. Now we are entering into a new set of crime, that is issue of drug war.
Indeed. And when money is as plentiful as we can imagine it will be plentiful when we're talking about drug barons, unfortunately some of it will seep to political activity as well.
Beautiful. They do also donate and become very well known and protected by the political godfather. So there are many angles to it that we don't want such a situation to develop in Nigeria. You know what goes on in Mexico. You and I know what goes on in Mexico.
That's the kidnapping capital of the world.
And then even in drug. I went to South Mexico as I was entering America. They almost removed my pants. They were looking in Nigeria going to South Mexico. I'm just telling you, sir, coming to America, they almost removed my pants at the airport, sir. To tell you how
such was the thoroughness of the frisking.
How the country is rated and all that. So may we not come to the level where we begin to degenerate to this level.
I'll say an amen to that. And also, I'm so concerned that nobody gets the idea that he can be a copycat, and that's where the authorities come in. Say this kind of thing. I'm going to come to you, Wahab, but let me bring in Alex, who has called in from Kaduna. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning, sir.
Joss, I beg your pardon. Joss. Good morning, Alex.
Morning. Exactly, yes, I just want to contribute to the topic you're going on with. The really thing that is happening in this hello?
We can hear you, Alex.
The real problem that is happening in this country is not normally alone about such clerics, because many of them now, they do almost want the followers to believe on Jesus doing, which they don't do it. If it is money, you can't come to us as the Lord and lack anything. That's what the Lord said. That's in the essence of doing when they go to Zacchaeus. When Zacchaeus went to Zacchaeus, Zacchaeus now returned all the money to all people. He didn't collect the money from Zacchaeus to return it. And not that because of that alone. Part of the pastors now are even claiming the world reaches something, which is not part of their own work. All they have to do is just take care of their masses, all their followers, pay their own needs. And secondly, for the security issue, the government now only have security on their own self, personally, not for the masses. Because if you find out, if you can be in the House of Representatives, you'll be safety than maybe fellowship places and other where people are gathering, such as market and other places, where they collected the tax and shared to themselves alone. Now we have a lot of youth unemployment. So if anybody can come on with the money and give it to the youth, we'll go. More than which government has to employ the youth and give him work. If you can be more security, we have more security that they are working to end in the end of the period. I don't believe that youth can go into such kind of act, that they go into church, because now they don't value even the church, because the pastors now are trying to invest on what funds is best gathering in the church.
Okay, thank you very much for calling in. We're talking about the unfortunate incident at St. Philip's Catholic Church, located in, let me take this slowly now, Umuezekwe, Olufe Amakwa, Ozubulu. When you finish laughing, correct me. When you finish laughing, just go ahead and correct me.
You try with Ozubulu, but I don't know if that second one you call.
Myself, I don't know about that Olufe. That Olufe Amakwa.
Or sounding like French.
Exactly. So let me just leave it at Umezekwe, and this is in Ozubulu. Wahab, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was just about making the point that the narrative must now change to emphasize security at all levels of governance. Yeah, because the security and welfare of the people is the primary purpose of governance.
Yes.
And so I think government...
But a lone madman, nobody can say, how can you secure against a lone madman? This is the problem. They say that is the weak link in security. Yeah. But if there's a lone madman intent on wreaking havoc, there's very little that can be done apart from minimizing his damage once he has started.
That's right.
Let me bring in somebody else is on the line. I forgot the name. Good morning, sir. Yakub.
Yeah, good morning, Sijori.
Yes.
And good morning to Pastor Urbana and Pastor Shitu.
Yeah, thank you, my brother.
Yeah, good morning, sir. You see, Sijori, this is a lesson. First and foremost, my sympathy goes to the people that lost their lives with that criminal activity.
And many injured as well.
And there's so many that injured, they are hospitalized. The God Almighty heal them. You see, Sijori, this is a lesson for our pastor and imam. When people brought a huge amount of money to the church or mosque, I think the leader of the mosque and the churches, they had to ask a question. But in these days, they keep silent in as much as you can bring them. In fact, they even have a special seat for you when you brought a lot of money to the churches. See, if you can watch the video that Barrister Ubani will show you after the program.
You've seen the video?
I watched the video, Sijori. If you see the way this man carry huge amount of money, pray it. You wonder.
I'm sure the police have seen the video too.
In fact, if you are earning your money legitimately, you will never spend that money like that. That's true. Because you are spending the money that you sweat before you can never spend the amount of that money. Because this money carried a bunch of money in his hand and spend it in bail. Pray it. See, Sijori, you see, it's a matter of betrayal. And it is unfortunately that the person that these people want to kill, it is not killed now. And then still stay alive. And then the federal government, and then particularly the Anambra state, they should make sure they bring this guy, especially this person that is still late. This person that's spending this money like that, they should bring the person into the book and ask, how do you making this money? Because the people have already killed, and then the family have already gone. In fact, some of the people that be killing, they are the breadwinner of their family. A lot of people will die together with them. Since they are already gone, who is going to feed them? God Almighty will feed them. That's and God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in, Yakub. It goes without saying. In fact, we've been hearing this matter that you can't just bring money to a mosque or to a church and it gets accepted. And so the allegation that you know, one of these guys, a drug baron, built that church, no doubt the Catholic Church will comment on that in due course.
That's right.
So let's just leave it. Yes.
Well, it also goes to the foundation of the society. What we should now begin to emphasize in going forward. And I think the imperative of addressing core values, particularly at the family level.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's something that we have to...
And this is the irony, because now when Wahab brings this up, core values, particularly at the family level, what is the church? What is the mosque? Isn't that where core values are reinforced along the lines Wahab was talking about? Family, the way things are done, the way things behave. So to now be hearing these distressing stories that one of the alleged drug barons reportedly built a church for the Catholic Church of Nigeria in that area. We probably need to be a bit careful and wait for the church to comment on that, because people are just talking. Otherwise, it stands to reason, if the Catholic Church knew that, oh, this man is a known drug baron, that is what his source of income is, I would stick my neck out and say that the Catholic Church will not take a kobo from him.
Or they may pretend not to know what he does for a living.
They might be. It's possible to look the other way, as we do in politics, as we do in other areas of our life.
Look the other way. Yeah, because
let me come back to you. Let me quickly nip over to Abia and Comrade Okorafor. Good morning, Comrade.
Good morning, Sayori. Good morning, our guests in the studio.
Good morning.
Honestly speaking, the souls of our brothers and sisters that died in that incident, they are so rest in peace. You see, thank God, Mr. Sayori, for the last statement you just made now. The Catholic Church, not only the Catholic Church, religious organizations should put a stop for individuals coming to build a worship center for anybody. Any worship center, let the organization by themselves delay it. Contribute money any level they have, let them continue. Because the situation whereby you give something to the community, you still have that thing that after all, you are in charge of the whole place. It is very, very wrong. Now you ask yourself, what is the essence of, you say, sow a seed, come and give time. All these things are these are what of the implications what we are seeing. And the youth. Now look at the situation, the film clip you have been showing us since you started this program. Who and who were there? Is it not all these youth below 40 years that were there? And we're doing it now. You ask yourself now, all these shoots, so what they are not talking about this. Now, the National Assembly are giving them go ahead order. It can be president, it can be governor. Now, is that what we are going to see? This is a very bad omen, a very bad president.
Indeed. Comrade,
to the whole world.
Comrade,
we have to be very, hello,
Comrade, I wonder if you, being up in the east there, I wonder if you've also heard any of the stories floating around, such as Monday shared with us, that, look, communities know what is going on in relation to alleged drug barons and carrying on their businesses and being products of a particular area. Do you know anything about that?
My brother, the question you are asking is 100% correct. I get you, it's 100% correct. The community know what is happening. They know who is a drug baron and who is not a drug baron. They know very well. It's just that I used to say that when you come to a place, the traditional rulers are there, they close their eyes. They pretend as if they don't know what is happening. Now, when you see like this, you see that it's happening, the communities are aware what is happening. It is not happening. It is 100%. Put me into that Okrap will say this from our that the communities are aware, the villagers are aware, the traditional rulers are aware, the youth are there, the church people, they are aware. Because you cannot come to the church every day, that kind of particular person, and make a chairman of a program every year. Are you the only son in that very worship center? How many places have they used a poor man who cannot eat 3 square meters to make as a chairman of anything in a worship center? It's not possible because they know that it doesn't have anything. That's why I say that in this country we worship money and pray. Let God have mercy on all of us so that we make careful, because the way people worship money in this country is not the best way for this country. That people must have a blessed day in Lagos.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okorafor. Quite revealing there. It's reiterating what Monday said, that people know what's going on. Don't let anybody deceive you. If you're not from the area, you might not know. But people within the community know what their kids and kin are doing.
The law enforcement agents might also have to investigate this level of complicity.
Yes.
Level of complicity. in this crime.
Okay, Maxwell Ghana. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And good morning to Deohane and Okashit.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
You see, this is a very sad, Sunday was a very sad day for our people in Anambra State. The only contribution I need to give in here is that, you see, in a community where you know what I do, you know the kind of business I am doing, and you know quite all right I'm not doing a legitimate business. And when this money comes, the whole community around the area, the villagers, our brothers and sisters, uncles and fathers, knows the kind of business their children, their brothers, their uncles are doing outside. How many times have they come out to condemn them? How many times? We will be crying every day, oh, this one has happened, oh, this one has happened, oh, this one has happened. But we are also helping them, as accomplices. Let me put it that way. Just imagine somebody that you don't know the kind of job that person is doing, bringing that kind of money to build a church, and the parish head there took that money without asking that person, what work are you doing? Where do you get this money from? They just took it like that. When things like this happen, then we start shouting. Yeah. We start crying to God. Yeah. In Ghana here, when I bought my car here, I took it to a church for them to bless it for me. Do you know what they told me? They asked me, what work are you doing? Who are your parents? Where do you live? How did you get the money to buy just ordinary Toyota Corolla? I just believe that. And even the police, they are jumping the gun.
Yes.
You know the history of all those things, and you cannot arrest them, investigate them, then today you are coming to tell us they are jumping the gun, and in fact they have just, that case, as far as I know, that case has been closed because facts and evidence is what you use to prosecute a criminal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Maxwell. And Maxwell has introduced another aspect to this burgeoning story.
Yes.
One, the community knows what's going on. Two, the police allegedly know.
And they usually provide security. If you watch the video that I will show you immediately after,
it
was being guided by the police and by the army.
So this is the challenge for the police now. So the police have to debunk what Mr. Maxwell has just
most
said.
Most criminals in the country go with police people.
Well, in this criminal investigative process, he has also introduced an element which can also assist what we are trying to unravel. One, that element is the element of accomplices.
Yes.
Are there elements who facilitated the commission of this crime? Is the gunman a native of that area?
Well,
of that community?
Now, he's at large and unknown.
Yes. So who were the pointers? Somebody was appointed, that is the church. Because if I walk into a community, if I don't know the location, I must find out the location.
No.
Who are the people who
he wouldn't have come one day. He may have been there.
That's what I'm saying.
Do all his investigation and decided.
We need to find out those who induced the crime, those who aided the commission of the crime, those who facilitated the commission of the crime, the accomplices.
Yes, and those who actually committed. We have Abuja on the line. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah. Shitu, I believe.
Yeah.
Good morning, Mr. Shitu.
Yeah, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah, nice meeting you. Nice to see my big uncle there, Barrister Shitu.
Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Shitu. Go ahead, please.
Good morning to you all. My special regards go to my senior uncle.
Yes, now you have greeted your uncle. And we ourselves, we stand greeted. Go on with your comment, please.
Don't make me look like an old man.
This is to be seen beyond just a male attack. To be seen as a threat to our security. If individual now will no longer feel secure going to places of worship, mosque or churches to worship, we'll go there with fear in mind, and I think it calls for a serious issue. The government has to look into this.
Yeah.
Then as at now, this issue now is at least over 24 hours. The Interpol needs to come in The other guy that built that church, that is acclaimed or is being said to be a drug baron, I see no reason why up to now has not been invited or arrested. No suspect has been invited by police or arrested in respect of this.
Okay, Mr. Shitu, thank you very much for calling in. We really appreciate your call. Drug barons are not invited. These guys operate outside of the law. But I can appreciate it because...
It's a cartel.
Yes, it's a total cartel. But I can appreciate Mr. Shitu feeling like that because this kind of thing has never happened to us before. You don't have one guy shooting up a whole church. But very important facts that were, thoughts that are introduced into this whole matter. Mazi Okorafor in Abia, he alluded that don't let anybody in that community tell you he doesn't know what's going on. That can be a shocker to somebody outside of that community. But even before Mazi spoke, you yourself had said that they know themselves. You even alluded to an alleged Mbise angle to the whole thing. So apparently the police have already been jump-started. And somebody called in, I forget now who it was, and says, the whole story actually has been jump-started because the police is not totally bereft of knowledge in this whole matter, using the police now as a corporate entity.
That's why they came out with the swift report as to the motive behind the murder.
So that's why you were saying it was a bit precipitate.
But let me say this, beyond all the criminality and all that, is this issue of worship of money. How I wish, even with the political elites, when the 2019 is, that is approaching comes, that we will not, sometimes, get, carried away
by money.
This issue of money, this guy can come and contest. All these guys who are into drug and all that can come and become a senator or even become a governor because of the large amount of money at their position.
Which is unfortunate.
I think we should begin to now go back to the basics.
Okay. Scholar in Adamawa, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well.
Bayori.
Yes, sir. Go on, please.
Okay, you see, this should, I sympathize with the parents of the deceased, but this should serve as a lesson to the clergy. In fact, they very much tell whoever is having money, irrespective of how you have gotten it. They are not after spirituality, but they are after the worldly things. While the Bible is very categorical, the time will come that a stone will not even stand again, on a stone. So, instead of us preaching spirituality, we are preaching prosperity. Most of them know his sources of money, but because he has the money, each time they are having an appeal fund, they will always make this kind of people the chairman. Thank you.
Indeed.
But I sympathize.
Thank you very much for
there's
calling
also
in,
another danger that I see in this discourse. And that danger is our worship centers no longer safe. Are we encouraging religion of AK-47? In which case everybody will have to go to church or mosque armed to the teeth, that a lone gunman can just emerge to attack the sanity of the entire religious environment. And then you begin to now go with rifles or something like that, thereby encouraging religion of AK-47.
Exactly.
I think that is a dangerous thing to happen.
Or let me just make you laugh a bit, or begin to go to church with Ayeta, which is bulletproof, native bulletproof. If that doesn't contradict everything about the whole thing.
What is the work of the Spirit?
You know what I mean. But guys, on a serious note, I think the police really have a big one on their hands to debunk some of the things we've heard this morning. People saying, maybe out of the pain, that the police know exactly what is going on. Well, in that case, it would be that the police have a jump start. But I just want to take that as something of people say those kind of things. Police is not supposed to be involved in criminality. They're not supposed to be involved in crime. So I'm just staying on that,
some few bad eggs. And when we make a generalization, what is wrong is for us to make sweeping generalization.
Exactly.
Because in the police are very decent people.
Yeah.
Just like in the legal profession.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So these,
who are trying to tar the general house with
indeed. So the police has heard it this morning on this program, if nowhere else, that There are those who think the police is in the complete know as to what exactly and how exactly it has happened.
They should unravel it by...
So they need to debunk it. They need to debunk this whole notion.
And arrest the culprit.
Yes, they need to debunk this whole assertion and come out and show that they are, by and large, a much better force than, you know, we have had reason to say this morning because of the passion of the moment.
Sir, the other issue which came out, you know, I heard the governor of
completely run out
Anambra.
of time. I'm so sorry.
Okay,
thank you very much. No, I was going to say that Barry. Thank you very much, Mr. Wahab Shitu. Thank you very much, Mr. Onyekachi. Monday, Onyekachi Obani on Monday morning.
MOU.
Yeah. Thank you, gentlemen. That's our program. Join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.